Okay. So the today's topic is essential of Charaka Samhita, Vimana, Sthana. So as we know, the process of learning and the process how we study depends on the stages. That is, which includes Patha, Avabodha, and Anusthana. Patha is whatever the teacher teaches or whatever the coaching classes or anything what we come across comes under Patha. And understanding whatever is being taught and that is included under Avabodha, and practicing it is Anusthana. So for reading for anything, these three are the very important steps which we have to inculcate, that is Patha, Avabodha and Anusthana. And we also know that the Tantra Yuktis form the bridge between these, that is Patha, Avabodha and Anusthana, for understanding the Shastra. So I'll start my topic with the help of a Tantra Yukti, which is called a very important Tantra Yukti, which is Adhikarana Tantra Yukti. And the Shastradhikarana, which has been selected today, is Charaka Samhita. And the Sthanadhikarana is Vimana Sthana, which is a very important and unique sthana by Charaka. And the Adhyayadhikaranas and the Adhyayas explained in Vimana Sthana are 8 Adhyayadhikaranas which are explained. So in this Vimana Sthana, the most important questions which might be asked from the chapter is Rasa Vimana, Trividha Roga Vishesha Vijnaniya Vimana, Srotasam Vimana and Roga Vishuddhitiya Vimana. So we'll start the first Adhyaya Adhikarana, that is Rasa Vimana. And I'll explain each Adhyaya Adhikaranas based on the Prakaranas. So if the Prakaranas are known, then it's very easy for you to understand what are the questions which might be asked based on the Prakarana Adhikarana. So as we know, the Vimana Sthana has been explained for Doshadi Mana Jnanartham. That is what the Vimana Sthana explains about. Doshadi Mana Jnanartham Vimana Sthanam Upadikshamo Agnivesha. And the first prakarana which is explained in Vimana Sthana is the 4 prabhavas are explained, that is Rasa Prabhava, Dravya Prabhava, Dosha Prabhava and Vikara Prabhava. So Vikara Prabhava is also known as Roga Prabhava. And we know the rasas are 6 in number, that is Madhura, Amla, Lavana, Tikta, Katu, Kashaya. And the important question which can be asked here is, Samyak upayujyamana of dash leads to Sharira Yapayanti. That is what we have to say, the Rasa. Rasa, that's the Sharira Yapana if it is taken in Samyak Upayoga. Whereas if it is taken in Mithya Upayoga, it leads to Dosha Prakopa Karanas. Next, in the same way, the doshas are most important, where the Prakriti Bhuta of the doshas leads to Sharira Upakaraka, and Vikritim Apan, the dosha which is in Vikritavastha leads to Nana Vidha Vikaraha. And then the next point, this has been studied from first, where he gives the relation between the dosha and the rasa. As we know, the vata, prakopaka rasas are katu, tikta, kashaya, and the same kapha, prashama rasas are the same rasa, that is katu, tikta, kashaya. Whereas kapha, prakopaka rasas are madhura, amla, lavana, whereas the vata, prashama rasas are madhura, amla, lavana. So they are viparyaya. Whereas pitta is katu, amla, lavana leads to prakopa of the pitta. The rasa of madhura, tikta, kashaya leads to prashama of the pitta. So this can be the MCQ question which can be asked from this topic. Next is Dvitiya Prakarana, where this can be asked as a reference, where exactly the Vikrita Vishama Samaveta and Prakriti Samasamaveta has been explained. So the answer is, it's been explained in Charaka Vimana Sthana, first chapter. So the important thing what to be noted here is, Charaka coins the term as Vikriti Vishama Samaveta, where the Charaka does not coin the term as Prakriti Samasamaveta. It is coined by Chakrapani. Chakrapani says it as Prakriti Samasamaveta. And the other reasons for the Vikriti Vishama Samaveta are 3 in number. That is, the first one is Nanatmakanam, second one is Parasparena Upahatanam, the third one is Anyeshcha Vikalpanaihi Vikalpitanam. And the next and important prakarana which is explained in this chapter is Satata Abhyasa of the Dravya. So Satata Abhyasa of the Dravyas, some of the Dravyas, which leads to the Prashamana of Vata, Pitta and Kapha dosha. That is, usage of Satata Abhyasa of Taila, Ghrita and Madhu leads to the Prashamana of Vata, Pitta, Kapha respectively. The very important thing what to be noted here is, due to which guna of Taila, the Vata gets Prashama, due to which guna of Ghrita, the Pitta gets Prashamana, and due to which guna of Madhu, the Shleshma gets Prashamana. So here the Taila has Sneha, Ushna and Gaurava, Guru guna, which is opposite to Vata, which does the Prashamana. And the Ghrita has Madhurya, Shaitya, and Manda, which is opposite to Pitta. That is, and very important thing what we have to note here is, in this chapter, the rasa of Pitta is not given as Katu or anything, it is given as a Madhura rasa. That is most important to notice. And the next one, the Madhu does the Prashamana of Shleshma, where Madhu has Raukshya, Tikshna, and Kashaya rasa, which helps in pacifying the Shleshma. The next prakarana, which is explained in this chapter, a very most important question asked, MCQ question, which can be asked from here. That is, Trini dravyani na upayunjita. That is, which dravyas are that which should not be used excessively. So among that, the three dravyas, the first one is Pippali. So to understand, I have been divided into the gunas of Pippali, karma, and satata adhisevana. So as we know, the gunas of Pitta include Katurasa, Guru, Madhura Vipaka, and it is Na Atyartha Snigdha and Ushna. And the karma is Prakledi, Apata Bhadraha, and Yogavahi. This is an important question which can be asked. Apata Bhadraha is the karma of dash dravya. And it is also Yogavahi. And Satatati Sevana of Pippali leads to, as it is Guru and Prakleti, it leads to Shleshma Prakopa. As it is Ushna, it leads to Pitta Prakopa. And it is Alpa Sneha and Ushna Bhava, it does not pacify Vata. So it affects on all three doshas. And the very important point here is Satata Atisevana of Pippali leads to Dosha Sanchaya Anubandha. And next we come across to the Kshara. The gunas of Kshara, we know it is Ushna, Tikshna, and it is Laghu in nature. And the most important thing is, first it does Kledana and then it does Vishoshana. This is a very important guna of Kshara. And the next karma of Kshara, that is Pachana, Dahana, and Bhedana. And the Satata Atisevana of Kshara leads to a very important question which is asked, that is Pumsatva Upaghatakaraha. So Pumsatva Upaghatakaraha is the effect of which dravya which is used. This is a question asked. So it is Pumsatva Upaghatakaraha leads is due to the Kshara. And other lakshanas like Andya, Shandya, Khalitya, etc. And next, the Lavana. The gunas of Lavana are Ushna, Tikshna, Anatiguru, and Anatisnigdha. The karma is Apata Bhadram. And we also had seen it is for Pippali also, but the difference is here he explains as Apata Bhadram, whereas in Pippali he explains as Apata Bhadraha. So that the question should be seen properly and answered. So the next, some other karmas of Lavana are Visramsana and Annadravya Ruchikara. And Satatati Sevana of Lavana leads to the most important effects, that is Dosha, Sanchaya Anubandha, and Apariklesha Sahascha. So these are some of the important MCQ questions which can be asked from this topic. And the next prakarana is Satmya. As we know, the definition of Satmya goes, Yat Atmani Upashete. And the Satmya is divided into, that is Trividha Satmya, Saptavidha Satmya. And Trividha Satmya includes intake of 6 rasa leads to Pravara Satmya, whereas intake of Yamishra rasa leads to Madhyama Satmya, and Eka rasa leads to Avara Satmya. And also Saptavidha Satmya, where it includes 6 rasa, each individual 6 rasa is 6 type, and one rasa which is Sarva rasa. And the other important point is in Sutra Sthana, he explains Chaturvidha Satmya, which involves Rutu Satmya, Oka Satmya, Desha Satmya, and Roga Satmya. And the next prakarana is Ashta Ahara Vidhi Visheshayatana. So here you have to note Ayatana is of 8 types. So and that has to be remembered like that. It is 8 in number. So among them, the first one is Prakriti. Prakriti is nothing but Swabhava. Example, as the Masha is Swabhavika Guru, and Mudga it is Swabhavika Laghu. And the Karana is nothing but Swabhavika Dravyanam Abhisamskaraha. That is Gunantaradana. That is Samskarohi Gunantaradana Muchyate. That is called as Karana. And Samyoga is Samhati Bhavaha, that is joining any two, that is Samyoga. And the next very important is Rashi, where it includes Rashi is helpful in analyzing the Matra, that is Sarvagraha, it is of 2 types, that is Sarvagraha Rashi and Parigraha Rashi, that is individual and it is combined. And next one is Desha. Desha is nothing but the Sthana where exactly the Dravya Utpatti takes place. For example, here the Dravyas which are grown in Anupadesha is basically Guru in nature, whereas in Jangala Dravya is basically Laghu in nature. And then Kala is of 2, again it is Nityaga, Ga is Gamana. So it is Nityaga Kala which involves Rutu Satmya, whereas Avastika Kala is Vikarika Kala, that is Dosha Avasthas. It depends on Dosha Avasthas. And the next one is Upayoga Samstha. Upayoga Samstha is nothing but the Upayoga Niyamaha. And the most important question which can be asked here is the Jirna Lakshana Apekshaha is due to dash, that is upayoga niyamaha or upayoga samstha. And the last one is upayokta. Upayokta is the one who takes ahara, that is ahara upayunkte, and one among them is okasatya. And the last prakarana from this chapter is ahara vidhi. So ashta ahara vidhi visheshayatana are 8 in number, whereas ashta ahara vidhis are 10 in number. So the question which can be asked here is, for example, Vatanulomayati is the lakshana of dash, that is Ushna ahara leads to Satata Sevana of Ushna ahara leads to Vatanulomayati. Snigdha ahara leads to Shariram Upachinuti. Matravat ahara leads to Ayuhu Vivardhayati. So these types of questions can be asked from this chapter. So this is the questions which can be asked from the first adhyaya adhikarana, that is Rasa Vimana. Next, we'll move on to the second chapter, that is second adhyaya adhikarana, that is Trividha Kukshiya Vimana. So as the chapter name says, the first prakarana which is explained here is Kukshi Vibhaga. So Kukshi Vibhaga is of 3, that is one bhaga is filled with Murta ahara, the one bhaga is filled with Drava ahara, and one bhaga is left for Vata Pitta Kapha. Whereas Vagbhata gives as 2:1:1. This is the difference between Charaka and Vagbhata. Next, the Dvitiya Prakarana which is explained here is Matravat Ahara Rakshana. So this is also a very important MCQ question. For example, Kuksheha Aprapidanam Aharena, Pridanam Indriyanam, or any lakshanas can be asked, and it is a lakshana of dash ahara, that is Matravat Ahara. So this is an important point. Next is Tritiya Prakarana from this chapter is, after explaining the Matravat Ahara, he explains what are Amatravat Ahara. It includes 2, that is Hina Matra and Adhika Matra. The Hina Matra Ahara leads to Vata Prakopa as well as Indriya Upaghatakara, whereas Adhika Matra leads to Sarva Dosha Prakopa. So this is also an important MCQ question which is asked. The Adhika Matra of Ahara leads to dash, that is Sarva Dosha Prakopa. So how it is Sarva Dosha Prakopa? It is the lakshanas are given Vata Janita Lakshana, Pitta Janita Lakshana, and Kapha Janita Lakshana. The next prakarana which is explained in this chapter is a very important, that is Ama Pradoshaja Vikaras. So before that he explains what are the Karanas of Ama Pradosha. It is of 2, that is Aharaja Karanas and Manasika Karanas. And the Ama Pradoshaja Vikaras are again 2 in number, that is Visuchika and Alasaka. The definition or the lakshana which he gives for Visuchika is Urdhvam cha adhaha cha pravrittam amadoshaha. The pravritta of the amadosha pravritti in the urdhva as well as adho is explained is Visuchika. And the important point which has to be noted here is Upadravas, the Visuchika, for Visuchika, Madhavanidana has explained 5 Upadravas. Those are Nidranasha, Arati, Kampa, Visanyata, and Mutraghata. This is also an important MCQ question which has been asked. And the next one is, the next Amapradosha Vikara is Alasaka. Alasaka, in Alasaka, the important thing is, it is caused due to the Bahushleshma Vata Pradhana Vyathi. Next is Dandalasaka. It is the name given due to the Atimatra Ahara. The Ama becomes like Alasi Bhuta, and the Pradushta Ama leads to the Tiryak Gati. The very important thing is Tiryak Gati. Right? In Visuchika, it is Urdhva and Adho Gati, whereas in Dandalasaka, it is Tiryak Gati. Next is Amavisha. Amavisha is Varama Asadhya because of 2 reasons. One is Ashukaritvat and Viruddha Upakramatvat cha. So these are the reasons which says that Amavisha is very Parama Asadhya. And Sushruta explains another Ama Pradosha Vikara, that is Vilambika, which is due to the Kapha Vata Pradhana doshas. And the next most important question which is asked from here is Chikitsa of Ama Pradosha Vikara. The Chikitsa for Alasaka involves, the first he explains it as Ullekhana, that is Vamana. Ullekhana with Salavanam Ushnajala, and Svedana is the next. Next is Varti Pranidhana and Upavasa. And Visuchika, the treatment for Visuchika is Langhanam Eva Agre, and Viriktavacha Anupurvi. Here he has told us Viriktavacha Anupurvi. Anupurvi here refers to the after Virechana, what Samsarjana Krama we follow, that is a Chikitsa what he tells in Visuchika. So we'll come to the next chapter, that is next Adhyaya Adhikarana, that is Janapadodvamsaniya Adhyaya, Vimanam Adhyaya. So here the important question which might be asked is Upadesha of Janapadodvamsa carried out in Panchala Kshetra and in Kampilya Desha. This can be the question asked. Next, he also explains about the Sangraha of the Sampurna Rasavirya Vipaka Sampanna Aushadha, and then the niyata and aniyata ayu of the prani depends on what? It depends on the yukti apeksha. Next, the prakaranas which are explained in this chapter, the Pratama Prakarana is Samanya Karana of Janapadodvamsa, and the order is very important here. That is Vikrita Vayu, Vikrita Jala, Vikrita Vayu leads to Vikrita Jala, Vikrita Desha, and Vikrita Kala. And the important MCQ question which can be asked from here is, which among them is Sarva Pradhana and why? The Sarvadika Pradhana is Kala because of Dushpariharyatvat. This is one of the important MCQ question which can be asked. Next prakarana in this chapter is Janapadodvamsa Chikitsa, where it involves the first Paramachikitsa, he says it as Panchavidha Karma, and the most important treatment is Rasayananam Vidhivacha Upayogam Prashasyate. So these are the two important Chikitsa which is told in for Janapadodvamsa. And the next prakarana which is explained here is the Mula Karana of Adharma. The Mula Karana of Janapadodvamsa, the Mula Karana of Janapadodvamsa is nothing but Adharma. And here he explains about the Yuga, that is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, how exactly the Roga Janana happens from the Satya Yuga to Kali Yuga has been explained in this concept. Next, Chaturtha Prakarana, that is, we all know that is Yuge Yuge Dharma Pada Hrasaha. So in Krita Yuga, it is 4 Pada Dharma, whereas in Treta Yuga, it is 3 Pada Dharma, Dwapara Yuga, it is 2 Pada Dharma, and Kali Yuga, it is 1 Pada Dharma, that is 100 years. And the next Prakarana, which is explained here, is Pancham Prakarana, that is Daiva and Purushakara. Daiva is nothing but which has been done in Paurva Daihika Karma, whereas Purushakara is that which is done in Iha Parakarma. So this karma is again divided into 3 types, that is Uttama Karma, which leads to the Dirgha, Sukha Ayu and Niyata Ayu, and Madhyama Karma leads to Madhya, Sukha Dukkha as well as Anita Ayu, and Hina Karma leads to Alpa Ayu, Dukkha and Aniyata Ayu. The next Prakarana, a very important MCQ question, where Ushna Jala in Jvara. So the Lakshana, these are some of the Lakshanas which are told in Ushna Jala in Jvara, that is Vatanulumayati, Agnimcha Udirayati, Kshipram Jaram Gachati, and Shleshmanam Parishoshayati. Any Lakshana can be asked. Next, Saptama Prakarana, a very important MCQ question, that is the Bhedas of Apatarpana. Apatarpana is of 3 types. One is Langhana, Langhana Pachana, and Doshavasechana. And very important point is where these Langhana Pachana, and Doshavasechana is administered. So Langhana is administered in Alpabala Dosha for Agni Maruta Vriddhi, and Langhana Pachana is administered in Madhyama Dosha, and Doshavasechana is administered in Bahudosha Avastha. And the last Prakarana, that is, he explains about the Desha Bheda, that is Jangala, Anupa, and Sadharana Desha. And the next important chapter, that is the 4th Adhyayadikarana of Vimana Sthana, that is Trividha Roga Vishesha Vijnaniyam Vimanam. So the first and foremost Prakarana which is explained here is Roga Jnana Upaya. So these are considered as Roga Jnana Upaya. So how many are there? These are 3 in number, and the first one is Aptopadesha, next is Pratyaksha, and next is Anumana. So Aptopadesha is Aptahi Avitarka Smriti Vibhaga Vido. This is an important thing. Aptahi Avitarka Smriti Vibhaga Vido. Next, Pratyaksha. Pratyaksham tu khalu swayam indriyaihi manasacha upalabhyate. This is the Lakshana of Pratyaksha. Anumana. Anumanam khalu tarko yukti apekshaha. This is an important MCQ question. Anumanam khalu dash yukti apekshaha. That is, the question can be asked. Next, Ditiya Prakarana from this chapter is Aptopadesha Gamya Bhavas. So there are 13 Aptopadesha Gamya Bhavas where the diagnosis of the disease based on the Aptopadesha is like Evam Prakopanam, how the Vayu Rukshadi leads to the Prakopa of the doshas, which helps in diagnosis. And in the same way, Yoni, Utthana, Atmana, Adhishtana. So there are 13 in number. So you have to analyze what are these 13 Aptopadesha Bhavas. Next important question which is asked from here, that is Pratyaksha Gamya Bhavas, is, for example, Antra Pujana and Sandhisputana is the Lakshana which can be elicited by which Pratyaksha Gamya Bhava, that is Shrotrendriya Pariksha. That is an answer. So in this way the question might be asked. For example, in Netrendriya, Varna, Samsthana, Pramana, Chaya can be analyzed by Netrendriya Pariksha. And Rasanendriya Pariksha, it is through Anumana. Anumanam eva avagachet. The Rasanendriya is not Pratyaksha, it is Anumanam eva avagachet. Next, Ghanendriya and Sparshanendriya Pariksha. Next, a very important MCQ question which can be asked from this topic, that is Anumana Gamya Bhavas. So where it includes, for example, Agni is elicited by Jarana Shakti. Next, Bala from Vyayama Shakti. Shrotradini from Shabdadi Artha Grahana. Mano Artha Vyabhicharana. And the most important MCQ question which has been asked from here, it is Vyavasayena Vijnanam. Vijnana is due to Vyavasaya. Rajo Sangena. So this all has to be analyzed. And I'll only specify the most important one. One is Medha Grahanena, Sanya Nama Grahanena, Smritihi Smaranena, Hriyam Apatrapanena, Sheelam Anushilanena, Upadhi Anubandhena, Dhriti Alaulyena, Vashyata Vidheyataya. And the most important question which is asked here, it is Gudhalinga, that is Vyadhi Upashaya Anupashayabhyam. Gudhalinga can be analyzed by Vyadhi Upashaya Anupashayabhyam. And Dosha Pramana is analyzed by Apachara, and Ayuhukshaya is analyzed by Arishta Lakshanas, and Grahani Mudu Darunatvam, Swapna Darshanam due to Icha and Dvesha, Sukha Dukkha by asking the Atura Prashna. So a very important MCQ questions can be asked from this topic. So the next Adhyaya Adhikarana is Srotasam Vimana, a very important chapter for MCQ questions. So here first he explains the Lakshana of Srotas, where he explains Srotamsi Khalu Parinamam Apadyamananam Dhatunam Abhivahini Bhavanti Ayanarthena. So this is a Lakshana which is explained. And the next he explains about the Sroto Sankhya. So the difference between Charaka, Sushruta, Vagbhata, that is Sroto Sankhya. Charaka explains 13 Srotases, whereas Sushruta explains 11 Srotases, and Vagbhata also explains 13 Srotas. Where the difference is, Sushruta explains Ardhavava Srotas, whereas the 13 Srotases which has not been explained in Sushruta, that is the extra Srotas which is explained by Charaka, is Astivah Srotas, Majjavah Srotas, and Svedavah Srotas. Next, this point is very important for MCQ questions, where each Srotas is studied by its Mula Karana, Mula, and it is Dushti Karana, Dushti Lakshana, Dushti Karana, and its Chikitsa. So many of the questions will be asked from this topic, where, for example, Pranava Srotas. If you take the Mula of Pranava Srotas is Hridayor Moolam Mahasrotahacha, and Dushti Lakshana includes Atisrishtam, Atibaddham, Kupitam, Alpalpam, Abhikshnamba, Sar Shabda Shulam Uchvasantam. So the question can be asked, Sar Shabda Shulam Uchvasantam is the Dushti Lakshana of which Srotas? That is Pranava Srotas. And the Karana, Dushti Karana, most important Dushti Karana for Pranava Srotas is Vyayamat Kshudhitasya cha. During Vyayam, when there is hunger, doing Vyayama leads to Pranava Sroto Dushti. So it is also one of the important Dushti Karana which can be asked. And another important MCQ question is Chikitsa of Pranava Srotas is same as Shvasiki Kriya. Next is Udakavaha. Udakavaha Mula is Talu Mula Klomacha. It is the Karana for Dushti Karana is Shushkana Sevanat, and the Chikitsa is most important here. That is Trishna Chikitsa is carried out in Udakavaha Srotas. And the next Srotas is Annavaha Srotas. The Mula of Annavaha Srotas is Amashayo Moolam Vamam Cha Parshvam, and Dushti Lakshana is Anannabhilasham, Arochaka, Abhipaka, and Chardi. And Dushti Karana is Atimatra, Akala, Ahita Bhojana. And the Chikitsa is most important. For Annavaha Srotas, the Chikitsa explained here, it is Ama Pradoshaja Chikitsa. Next is Rasavaha Srotas. The Mula is Hridayor Moolam Dashacha Dhamanyaha. And the Dushti Lakshanas are not explained in Vimana Sthana. We have to apply Atita Vekshana Tantra Yukti and go back to Charaka Sutra 28th chapter, where he explains about the Dushti Lakshanas of Rasavaha Srotas. And the most important MCQ question which can be asked here is Chintyanamcha Ati Chintanat leads to which Sroto Dushti? That is Rasavaha Sroto Dushti. And the Chikitsa for Rasavaha Srotas is Sarve Langhanam Aushadham. Next Srotas is Shonitavaha Srotas. The Mula is Yakrit Mula Plihacha. Again, the Dushti Lakshanas are explained in 28th chapter, which includes Kushtha, Visarpa, Pidaka, etc. And the Dushti Karana is Vidahini Annapanani. And the most important is Bhajatamcha Atapa Analav. And the Chikitsa for Shonitavaha Srotas is explained in Vidishoniti Adhyaya, again applying the Atita Vekshana Tantra Yukti. Next is Mamsava Srotas. Mula of Mamsava Srotas is Snayu Moolam Tvakcha. and the lakshanas are explained in Sutra 28 chapter. And Dushti Karana is another important MCQ question which can be asked is Bhuktva cha Swapatam Diva is the Karana of which Srotas, that is Mamsavaha Srotas. And what is the Chikitsa of Mamsavaha Srotas? It is Samshuddhihi Shastra Kshara Agni Karmavihi. Next is Medovah Srotas. The Moola of Medovah Srotas is Vrikkor Moolam Vapavahanam, and the Dushti Lakshana is explained as Ninditani Pramehanam Purvarupani. That is from Charaka Sutra 28th chapter. And Dushti Karana is again a very important question which can be asked here is Varunyamcha Atisevanat. So Varunyamcha Atisevana is the Dushti Karana of dash Srotas, that is Medhovaha Srotas. And what is the Chikitsa? Chikitsa is explained in again Atita Vekshana Tantra Yukti, where Ashtavanindita Adhyaya we have to refer. Next is Astivaha Srotas. Moola is Medor Moolam Jaganamcha, and Dushti Karana here again as we know Vata and Asti are in Ashraya Ashri Bhava. The Karana here is told as Vatalanam cha Atisevanat. So leads to Astivaha Sroto Dushti. This is one important MCQ question. And another one, Asnyam Ati Vighattanat. This is also an Dushti Karana for Astivaha Srotas. And the Chikitsa in Astivaha Srotas is Panchakarmani Bheshajam, that is Kshira Sarpi Tikta Yuta Basti. Next is Majjavaha Srotas. The Moola of Majjavaha Srotas is Asthini Moolam Sandayahacha. And the most important MCQ question which is asked here is Dushti Karana, that is Viruddhanam cha Sevanat. So if the question is asked Viruddhanam cha Sevanat is the Dushti Karana of which Srotas, the option is given as Annavaha, Purishavaha, Majjavaha and some Udakavaha. But we go to write as it is Viruddhahara, we tend to write Annavaha or Purishavaha or something. But here it is Viruddhanam cha Sevanat is the Dushti Karana of Majjavaha Srotas. So that has to be remembered. And the Chikitsa for Majjavaha Srotas is Swadu Tiktaka, Aushadha, which is involved in which has Swadu Tiktaka Rasa. Next is Shukravaha Srotas. The Moola of Shukravaha Srotas is Vrishanor Moolam Shephascha, and the Dushti Lakshana is Klaibya, Aharshana, Apatya, Sadaram Badate, whereas the Dushti Karana is most important here, which involves Shastra Ksharagni Bihi. This is the most important Karana for Shukravaha Srota Dushti. This is an important MCQ question. Next is Chikitsa, Aushadam, Swadu Tiktakam. The next is Mutravaha Srotas. The Moola of Mutravaha Srotas is Bastir Moolam Vangshanamcha. And the Dushti Lakshana, we can see these Lakshanas same in Pranavaha Srotas, that is Atisrishtam, Atibaddham, Prakupitam, Alpalpam, Abhikshnam va, Bahalam Samutram, Mutrayanti. This is the difference. Here he has explained as Bahalam Shulam Mutrayanti, whereas there Sa Shabda Shulam, that is what is the difference between Mutravaha Dushti Lakshana and Pranavaha Dushti Lakshana. And the Dushti Karana here it is Mutra Nigrahat and Sri Sevanat. Next is Chikitsa. This is a very important MCQ question. The Chikitsa of Mutravaha Srotas is Mutra Kritra Chikitsa. And the next one is Purishavaha Srotas. The Moola of Purishavaha Srotas is Pakvashayor Moolam Sthula Gudamcha. And the Dushti Karana is very important MCQ question here, which involves Durbalagnehi Krishasyacha. So this is a question asked. Durbalagnehi Krishasya is the Dushti Karana of which Srotas? It is Purishavaha Srotas. And the Chikitsa, and another important MCQ question, which is what is the Chikitsa in Purishavaha Srotas? It is Atisarahara Chikitsa. And the next is Svedavaha Srotas. Medor Moolam Loma Kupascha is the Moola of Svedavaha Srotas. And Dushti Lakshana is Asvedanam, Atisvedanam, Ati Lakshnatam. And the Dushti Karana, another important MCQ question, the Karana for Svedavaha Sroto Dushti is Shita Ushna Krama Sevanat. So this again, Shita Ushna Krama Sevana is the Dushti Karana of which Srotas? Svedavaha Srotas. And the Chikitsa, it is also an important question, important MCQ question, which can be asked. The Jwara Chikitsa is inculcated in Svedavaha Srotas. So this Srotas can be given as the following also. So all these Sroto Lakshanas, Sroto Dushti Karanas, everything has to be analyzed. Next is Srotas Paryaya. The question can be asked from here also. The Sroto Paryaya involves Srotamsi, Siraha, and the most important is Samvrita, Samvritani, Ashayaha, Niketaha. Niketa is the most important Paryaya which is explained for Srotas. And the Sroto Dushti Karana, here it is Ahara vihara, which is the dosha gunaihi samaha, leads to sroto dushti karana, and the viguna to dhatu leads to the dushti karanas. And another important question, that is sroto dushti lakshana, are four in number, that is ati pravritti, sanga, siranam granthi, and vimarga gamana. And srotas akriti, where it is swadhatu samavarna, it is vritta, it is thula, and it is dirghani and pratana sadrishani. And next, Adhyaya Adhikarana, it is Roganikam Vimanam. As Anika means Samuha. So here, the Samuha of the Roga has been explained. So the Samuha is being classified into five. That is the first five basic classification of Roga. One is Prabhava Veda. So Prabhava Vedena, again it is divided into two. That is Sadhya and Asadhya. Balabhedena, again it is divided into two, Mrudu, Daruna Bheda, and Adhishtana Bhedena, it is again divided into two, that is Mano Adhishtana and Sharira Adhishtana, and Nimitta Bhedena, it is Swadhatu Vaishyamya Nimitta and Aganta Nimitta, and Ashaya Bhedena, it is Amashaya Samutta and Pakvashaya Samutta. These are the five basic classifications of the Vyadhi, and this can be asked for MCQ question. And another thing is one classification due to the Dukkha Samanyat, and again the Roga is classified as Sankhyeya and Aparisankhyeya, and the Aparisankhyeya Vyadhis are explained in Maharogadhyaya of Sutra Sthana, 20th chapter, and Sankhyeya Roga classification is explained in Ashtodhariya Adhyaya, that is 19th chapter of Sutra Sthana. And also there is a quotation that the Roga can be divided into Bhetahi Bhedyam Anyata Bhinatti, into n number of classifications. And the other thing should be noted here is, he explains the context of Shabda, whereas Shabda is of two, that is Samana Shabda and Anarthantara. Anarthantarani is also called as Paryaya Shabdani, whereas Samana Shabda is also called as Arthantarani. For example, Roga. For Roga, Roga is a Samana Shabda for both Dosha and Vyadhi. Here, Dosha is Parisankheya because of Anati Bahutvat, whereas Vyadhi is Aparisankheya because of Ati Bahutvat. And also the Karanas of the Roga has been explained as three in number, that is Asatmendriyartha Samyoga, Prajnaparada, and Parinama. Next, a very important MCQ question from this chapter is the Anubandhya and Anubandha dosha. So here, Anubandhya and Anubandha. What is Anubandhya and Anubandha? Anubandhya is Swatantra, Vyaktalinga, and Yathokta Samuthana Prashama. The Viparyaya for Anubandhya is Anubandha. So these are the very important Lakshanas which are explained, that is Swatantra, Vyaktalinga, Yathokta Samuthana. For example, Vata. Vata is Anubandhya dosha, whereas Anubandha becomes Kapha and Pitta. Next is Tritiya Prakarana, that is Agni. Agni is explained based on the Bala Bedha. So, as we know, the four types of Agni is explained, that is Vishamagni, Samagni, Tikshnagni, and Mandagni. So, to understand what is Vishamagni, first we'll see what is Samagni. Samagni, the Lakshana given for Samagni is Apacharato Vikritim Apadyate, Anapacharatah tu Prakritau Avatishthate. Then the Lakshana of Vishamagni says that Sama Lakshana Viparita Lakshana tu Vishamaha. So Viparita Lakshana to Samagni is Vishamagni, and the Pradhana dosha here it is Vata. The next is, this is an important MCQ question which is asked, Sarva Apachara Sahaha is the Lakshana of dash Agni, that is Tikshnagni, and the dosha which is involved here is Pitta. And Mandagni, the dosha which is involved is Kapha, that Viparita Lakshanastu Mandaha. That is, the Viparita Lakshana for Tikshnagni is taken as Mandagni. And another important prakarana in this chapter is the chikitsa for Vata dosha, Pitta dosha, and Kapha dosha has been explained. And the most important is in Vata dosha, he explains as Mrudunicha Samshodhanani, and he explains the other three very important chikitsa, that is Vitrasana, Vismapana, and Vismarana. And as we know, for Vata, Basti plays an important role. So Basti and Basti Niyama. And a very important MCQ question is, Sura Asavas are explained in Vatasya Upakrama. That is, in Vata dosha, Sura and Asavas are explained. And in Pitta dosha, the chikitsa, one is Sarpipana, and another one is Madhura Kashaya Tikta Shita Upasevana, and the most important is Saumyanam cha Sarva Bhavanam. So all the bhavas which helps in Saumya Bhava is being taken as a chikitsa for Pitta, and another chikitsas are Shruti, Sukha, etc. Next in Kapha, that is Tikshna Ushnani Samshodhanani. It is Tikshna Samshodhana in Kapha, whereas in Vata it is Mrudu Samshodhana. And the rasas like Katutikta Kashaya, Upahitani, and the other important chikitsas are Dhavana, Langhana, Plavana, Parisarana, and Jagarana. And the most important MCQ question which is asked is Visheshatah Tikshnanam, Dirghakala Sthitanam cha Madhyanam Upayogah. So the question might be asked, Dirghakala Sthitanam cha Madhyanam Upayogah is for which dosha upakrama? That is Kapha Upakrama. The other important MCQ question is Sukha Pratishedha. Sukha Pratishedha is also a chikitsa for Kapha Upakrama. So next Adhyaya is Vyadita Rupiya Vimana, that is Adhyaya Adhikarana, where here he explains the first Pratama Prakarana, that is Guru Vyadita and Lagu Vyadita. So Guru Vyadita has the lakshanas like Sattva Bala Sharira Sampat, but he acts as Laghu Vyadita iva drishyate, whereas in Laghu Vyadita it is Apara Sattva Bala Sharira, it acts as Guru Vyadita iva drishyate. Next, the Dvitiya Prakarana and the most important Prakarana is Krimi Sankhya. So here, the Krimi Sankhya is again divided into Sahaja Krimi and Vaikarika Krimi. Sahaja Krimi is of two, that is, it is also called as Bahya Krimi, it is Yuka and Pipilika, whereas Vaikarika Krimi, that is, it is Abhyantara, it is again divided into three, that is Raktaja, Shleshmaja and Purishaja. The numbers are very important here. Raktaja is of 6, whereas Shleshmaja Krimi is of 7, and Purishaja Krimi is of 5 types. So these krimis are explained based on these categories, that is the types of krimi, the nidanas of the krimi, ashaya, akriti and lakshana. The most important question is Malaja Krimi, or the types. The names of Malaja Krimi are Yuka Pipilika, and the Nidana is Brijavarjana, and Lakshana is Kandu Janana, Kota Pidaka, Nivartana. Whereas in Raktaja Krimi, the most important question asked is, for example, Keshada, Lomada, Lomadvipa, these are the names of krimis which is explained under which type of krimi. It is Raktaja Krimi. And the Nidana is same as Kushtha Nidana, has been explained. And the Ashaya here it is Raktavahinyascha Dhamanyaha. And the most important, the Chikitsa is as Kushtha. And the next one is Shleshmaja Krimi, which is of 7 types, that is Antrada, Udarada, Hridaya Charaha, Churavaha, Darba Pushpaha, Saugandikaha, Mahagudaha. So they are 7 in number. And the Nidana is that which increases Kapha, that is Kshira, Guda, Tila, Matsya, Anupamamsa, etc. And Ashaya of Shleshmaja Krimi is Amashaya, and Lakshana are Rilasa, Asya Samsravana, Arochaka, Avipaka, etc. Next, in Purishaja Krimi is of 5 types, that is Kakeruka, Makeruka, Leliha, Sashula, Sausarada, and the Nidana is same as Shleshmaja Krimi Nidana, and the Ashaya here it is Pakvashaya, and the Lakshanas are Purisha Bheda, Karshya, Parushya, and Gudamukha, Kandu. Next important MCQ question which can be asked is Krimi Chikitsa. The Krimi Chikitsa is carried out in 3 things, that is, one is Apakarshana, next one is Prakriti Vighata and Nidana Parivarjana. So these are the Chikitsa which has been done in Krimi. In that Apakarshana, Hastam Eva Apakarshati, one thing has been told, and the other Apakarshana process which involves Shiro Virechana, Vamana, Virechana and Asthapana Vasti, that is for 6 to 7 days Sneha Speda is given, then Udirana of Krimi by giving Shira, Guda has been done, and then Apakarshana has been carried out. And the next one is Prakriti Vighata. Prakriti Vighata is done based on by giving the rasas like Katu, Tikta, Kashaya Rasa, Kshara Dravya, Ushna Dravya, and Shleshma Purisha Pratyanika, that is Chikitsa. It is very important. Shleshma Purisha Pratyanika Chikitsa has been told as Prakriti Vighata. And the yogas which are told here, it is Pupalika, which is prepared by Arka, Sahachara, Nirgundi, which is to be done Ashwashakrit Bhavana with Trifala Kwatha or Vidanga Kwatha. And the Churna, should be administered as Panitala Matra. Here the Matra is important, that is Panitala Matra should be administered. And the next one is Nidana Parivarjana. And the yoga, some of the yogas explained here is Bhalataka Taila, Virechanartha, Bhalataka Taila and Vidanga Ghrita. And the last Adhyaya Adhikarana is Roga Bishajjatiyam Vimanam. So here, the first and foremost, he explains about the number of Tantra Gunas. So this is an important MCQ question which is asked. The total number of Tantra Gunas which are explained are 18 in number. Then the next context what he explains is Trividha Jnana Upaya, where the Trividha Jnana Upaya involves Adhyayana, Adhyapana, Tadvidya Sambhasha. So in Tadvidya Sambhasha, what the Lakshana, the Tadvidya Sambhasha involves Bhishak, Bhishaja Saha Sambhasheta. This is the Lakshana of Tadvidya Sambhasha. And this Tadvidya Sambhasha is of two, that is Sandhaya Sambhasha and Vigrihya Sambhasha, where Sandhaya Sambhasha is also called as Anuloma Sambhasha, whereas Vigrihya Sambhasha is Pratiloma Sambhasha. And this Sambhasha takes place in Parishad, and this Parishad again it is divided into two, that is Jnanavati Parishad and Mudhavati Parishad. And the other MCQ question which can be asked is, due to Karana Bheda, the Parishads are dash in number. They are 6 in number, where it includes Jnanavati 3 and Mudhavati 3. So, this is an MCQ question which is asked. Karana Bheda Parishad is 6 in number. Next, Sambhasha takes place with the help of 44 Vadamargas, which is also a very important MCQ question which is asked from this chapter is in the context of Vadamarga. So the first, there are 44 Vadamargas which are explained. So the first Vadamarga is Vada. Vada, again, it is divided into Jalpa and Vitanda. What is Vada? The Lakshana which is given for Vada is Parena Saha Shastra Purvakam Vadam. Whereas, and Vitanda is Parapakshana Dusha Vachana is Vitanda. So this as the Lakshana is given, and the question is asked, Parapaksha Dushana Dosha Vachana is of Dash Vada, that is Vitanda Vada. Next, Shat Karanas are being explained. Any topic for the discussion is being taken from these Shat Karanas, and then he explains about the Pratignya. Most important, Pratignya is nothing but the Sadhya Vachana. Sadhya Vachanam Pratignya. Then this Pratignya is carried out by using Pancha Avayava Vakyas, that is Hetu, Drishtanta, Upanaya and Nigamana. What is Hetu? Hetu is nothing but Upalabdhi Karanam Hetuhu. And the next important one is Pratisthapana. Pratisthapana is Viparitartha Sthapana is Pratisthapana. Prati is opposite, that is opposite to Sthapana is Pratisthapana. And the next one is Uttara, and the next most important Vadamarga which is explained is Siddhanta. Siddhanta is 4 in number, that is Sarvatantra Siddhanta, Pratitantra Siddhanta, Adhikarana Siddhanta and Abhyupagama Siddhanta. The most of the question is asked from this Siddhantas, that is what is Abhyupagama Siddhanta. So this has to be analyzed. Next is Shabda. Shabda is again of 4, that is Drishtartha, Adrishtartha, Satya and Andrita. And next he explains about Pratyaksha, Anumana, Aitihya and Aupamya. He explains Aupamya here. Next Vadamarga explained here is Samshaya. That is Sandeha Lakshanam Samshaya. This is what the Lakshana of Samshaya is. Sandeha Lakshanam Samshaya. And then the next Vadamarga which is explained here is Prayojana. That is Arambha Lakshanaha tu Prayojanaha. Next is Savyabhichara. Savyabhicharam Nama Vyabhicharanam. That is what he says here. Savyabhicharam Nama Vyabhicharanam. Next is Jignasa. Jignasa Pariksha. That is it is an important MCQ question which is asked. That is Jignasa Nama dash. Jignasa Nama Pariksha. Vyavasaya Nama dash. Vyavasaya Nama Nishchayaha. So these are the important MCQ questions which can be asked. Next is Anuyojyam and Ananuyojyam. These two are also very important. Anuyojyam refers to Vakya Dosha Yukta, whereas Ananuyojyam is Vakya Prashamsa. So this is also an important MCQ question which can be asked. Next is next important Vadamarga which is explained here is Vakya Dosha. Vakya Dosha is of 5 in number. So the number is important. That is 5 types. That is Nyuna, Adhika, Anarthakam, Aparthakam and Viruddham. And the next Vadamarga which is important is Chala. Chala is of 2. That is Vak Chala and Samanya Chala. And the next one is Ahetu. Ahetu is again divided into 3. That is Prakarana Sama Ahetu, Samshaya Sama Ahetu and Varnya Sama Ahetu. These numbers are very important. Next, Upalamba. Upalamba is Hetoho Vachanam. Next, the last one is Nigraha Sthana. Nigraha Sthana is nothing but Parajaya Praptihi. So these are the very important MCQ questions which can be asked from these Vadamargas. And the next prakarana explained in this chapter is Dashavidha Pariksha Bhava. So why the Dashavidha Pariksha Bhavas are explained? It is for Bheshaja Vijnanartha. So this is a question. For Bheshaja Vijnanartha, Dashavidha Pariksha Bhavas are explained. So among the Dashavidha Pariksha Bhavas, a very important MCQ question which can be asked is Pravritti. Pravritti is nothing but Pratikarma Samarambha. Whereas the paryayas of the Pravrittis are given as Kriya, Karma, Yatna, Karya Samarambha. So here Pravritti is what? Pravritti towards the Chikitsa. So to do the Chikitsa, who is a Karana? Karana is Bhishak. So the first Pariksha Bhava is Karana, that is Bhishak. and the bishak needs some karana. That karana is bheshaja, which includes Daivapashraya, Yukti Vipashraya, and Satvavaya Jijikitsa. And what is a Karya Yoni? Karya Yoni here it is Vikaragamaha. So this is also an important MCQ question which is asked. Karya Yoni is Dhatu Vaishamya, which is Vikara Agamaha. What is a Karya? Karya is nothing but the Dhatu Samya, that is Vikara Upashamaha. Next important MCQ question is Karya Phala. The Phala, obviously, it leads to Sukha. So it is Karya Phala Sukha Vaptihi. Anubandha leads to Ayu. Next, Desha is of two, that is Bhumi Desha and Atura Desha. Atura Desha is Karya Desha, where Dashavida Parikshas are told, and Kala is again divided into Samvatsara, Atura Avasthacha. Next, Upaya. Upaya is also very important, where it is Bishak Adinam Saushthavam Abhividhanam. So, Bishak Adinam here refers to Karana, Karana, Karyayoni. Doing the Upaya for all these, right? This is a Dashavida Pariksha Bhavas is being explained. Next, Tritiya Prakarana from this chapter is Dashavida Pariksha. Why the Dashavida Parikshas are done? It is due for Bala Pramana Vishesha Jnanartham. This is also an important question. Bala Pramana Vishesha Jnanartham, Dashavida Parikshas has been explained. First and foremost among them is Prakriti. Prakritis are, as we know, it is Shukra Shonita Prakriti, Kala Garbhashaya Prakriti, Maturahara Vihara Prakriti, and Mahabhuta Vikara Prakriti. And the dosha prakritis are explained here. For example, here it is Shleshma Prakriti. The Shleshma Prakriti is being explained based on the gunas like Snigdha, Shlakshna, Mrudu, and some of the Lakshanas are explained like Shlakshnatvat, Shlakshnangaha, Snehat, Shleshmalaha, Snigdhangaha. So any of the Lakshanas can be given and asked. This Lakshana is leading to is because of which Shleshma Prakriti, and also that is. Shleshma Prakriti person is Balavanta, Vasumanta, Vidyavanta, Ojasvinaha, and Shantaha and Ayushmantaha. Next is Pitta Prakriti, and some of the important Lakshanas which can be asked from Pitta Prakriti is Tikshna Parakramaha, Tikshna Agnayaha, Prabhuta Ashanapanaha, Klesha Asahishnavaha, and Dandashukaha. For example, Dandashuka is a Lakshana of which Prakriti? That is Pitta Prakriti. And next is Vata Prakriti. In Vata Prakriti, some of the very important Lakshanas which can be asked is Jagarukaha, Shruti Grahino, and Alpasmritayaha, Shita Asahishnavaha, and Sputitanga Avayavaha. So these are some of the Lakshanas which can be asked. For example, Sputitanga Avayavaha is the Lakshana of which Prakriti? That is Vata Prakriti. Next Dashavida Pariksha is Vikriti. Vikriti is done for Bala Vishesha, that is Vyadhi Bala Visheshaha, to analyze the dosha, dusha involved. Prakriti here is Vikara Prakriti, Desha, Kala, and Bala Samya. And the next important MCQ question which is asked from this topic is Sara Pariksha, that is the Lakshanas. For example, Sa Prabheva is the Lakshana of which Sara Purusha? Tvak Sara Purusha. And in Raktasara, the most important Lakshana is Srimad Bhajishnuhu and Klesha Sahishnutvam. So, Klesha Sahishnutvam is the Lakshana of which Sara Purusha? It is Raktasara Purusha. Next is Mamsa Sara Purusha, that is some of the Lakshanas like Dhriti and Alaulyam, and some of the Lakshanas like Sthira, Guru, Shubha, Mamsa, Upachita is the Lakshana of which Sara Purusha? It is Mamsa Sara Purusha. And next, Medosara, some of the Lakshana like Sukumarata. Sukumarata is due to Medosara Purusha. Next, Astisara, in Astisara, the Lakshanas like Mahotsaha, Kriyavantaha, Klesha Sahaha. These are the Lakshanas which we see in Astisara Purusha. Next is Majjasara, Dirghayusho Balavantaha. This is an important MCQ question which is asked, that is Dirghayusho and Balavantaha is included under which Sara Purusha? That is Majjasara Purusha. And the next one is Shukra Sara Purusha, where here it is Kshira Parnalochana and Balavantaha and Bhrajishnavo. These are some of the Lakshanas which explains the Shukra Sara Purusha. And the next is Sattva Sara. The most important question which can be asked here, it is Kalyanadhi Niveshanaha is seen in Sattvasara Purusha. And here the Sara is divided into Sarvasara, Madhyasara, and Asara Purusha. Next is Samhanana. Samhanana is the Lakshanas like, we have to see the Lakshanas like Sama Suibhaktasti, Subadha Sandhi, and Sunivishta Mamsa Shonitam. And the Pramana is analyzed by Sharira Pramanam Punaha Yathasvena Anguli Pramanena Upadekshyamaha. So that is what he says. Pramana is analyzed by punaha yathasvena anguli pramanena upadekshamaha. Next, Satmya. Satmya is nothing but Satatyena upasevyamanam upashete. And this Satmya is again divided into Sarvarasa Satmya, Ekarasa Satmya, and Vamishra Satmya. That is Sarvarasa Satmya. Here it isGhritakshira Taila Mamsarasa Satmya. And one who is Sarvarasa Satmya is Balavantaha, Kleshasahaha, and Chirajeevinascha. Whereas Ekarasa Satmya leads to, that is Ruksha Satmya, where it is Alpabala, Alpa Kleshasaha, and Alpayushi, and Alpa Sadhana, if he is Ekarasa Satmya. And Vyamishra Rasa Satmya, it is Madhyabala. And again, Sattva is divided into Pravara Sattva, Madhyama Sattva, and Avara Sattva. And the next one is Ahara Shakti. Ahara Shakti is analyzed by Abhyavarana Shakti and Jarana Shakti. So here the Ahara Shakti can be analyzed by two. One is Abhyavarana Shakti and Jarana Shakti. And the next one is Vyayama Shakti. Vyayama Shakti is analyzed through the Karma. That is Karma Shakti is analyzed. Vyayama is analyzed by Karma Shakti. Next is Vaya. Vaya is again divided into Bala, Madhya, and Jirna. Bala Avastha is 30 years as told by Charaka, whereas Madhyama Avastha is 30 to 60 years and Jirna Avastha is 60 to 100 years. And the next important prakarana which is explained in this chapter is Panchakarmartha Dravya Sangraha. Most of the dravyas are similar to the Kalpa Sthana which has been explained. So I have not put here. So the most important MCQ question which can be asked here is also the Mutra, Dadi, and Dadimandha are also considered as Virechana Dravya in this context. So this can be one of the MCQ question which can be asked. Next prakarana which is explained is Shat Asthapana Skanda, where he explains the Madhura Skanda, Amla Skanda, Lavana Skanda, Katu Skanda, and Kashaya and Tikta Skanda. Whereas some of the important dravyas which are included under Madhura Skanda are Tamalaki, Parini, and Trina Panchamulas and Valli Panchamulas. I have only mentioned which are important. And in Amla Skandha, the dravyas like Gandira and Dhanvana. And in Lavana Skandha, it is 5 Panchalavanas. Along with it is Pamshuja. And in Katuka Skanda, it is most important, where he explains about the Kshara is considered as Katu Skanda, and Mutra, Pitta, and Hingu Niryasa, and Bhallata Kasti. And Kashaya Skanda, that is again the Bhallata Kasti is even explained in Kashaya Skanda, and some of the other Kashaya Skandas like Arjuna and Ashoka. And Tikta Skanda involves Haridra, Daru Haridra, Katurohini, Chandana, and Kutaja. And the next prakarana which is explained here is Anuvasana Dravyas. So as we know, Anuvasana Dravyas, the Dravyas which are used for Anuvasana is Sneha. The Snehas are 4 in forms, that is Taila, Vasa, Majja, and Sarpi. So here for Vata Kavacha condition, the Taila is most predominant, then Vasa, then Majja, and Sarpi. Whereas in Pitta Vrikriti, Sarpi plays an important role, that is Sarpi, Majja, Vasa, and Taila. So these are some of the important points which I have taken from all the chapters and have presented. I think it would help you for preparing the other sthanas in the same way too. Thank you.